Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Fear to Freedom Project. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for coming. And if you are a returning champion, you know it's going to be great today. This is my conscious connection for the month of March. And every month, I will be spotlighting a beautiful soul that is bringing their unique healing, their unique wisdom, and their unique medicine to our world. And I am so excited today. I am so grateful and honored to be bringing to the stage a master herbalist and certified nutritionist, Mika'EL Bay Moore. Hold on. Or did I mess it up? Mika'EL Ben Or.
There
I'm
you
so
go.
sorry.
Perfect.
Okay, you are
Perfect.
here, brother. Welcome to the Fear to Freedom Project.
Thank you.
So honored I'm so honored that you accepted my invitation. And I want to let the audience know, how we met, because I love technology and the power of technology. And because back in March last year, I was challenged to uh, stop eating. I'd already stopped eating meat for about a year and a half because I was trying to see where pain was coming from in my knees. So I was challenged for a week to stop eating sugar, dairy, gluten, and alcohol. So I took that challenge, and my pain decreased in my knees. So I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's got to be something: sugar, dairy, alcohol, whatever. And so I ended up going to another certified nutritionist here where I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I went in there saying, I didn't come to stop eating cheese. I came resistant. Okay. I was like, I didn't come to stop eating cheese. I just came, because somebody challenged me. And out of that, I stopped eating dairy, and the pain in my knees, when I say literally, it's gone away. I play pickleball 4 days a week. It is gone away. So I knew that it was the dairy and being online, I ended up seeing Vegan Auntie, who is like your partner, in crime. And I was somehow kind of shifted to you all's group in Telegram, and you did a 10-day raw challenge to eat raw for 10 days. And I did it. I actually did it. And, just kind of being in the group and being here and learning so much from you all. And I think I was chasing her CMOS too, and then that's when I learned about your product. So I just wanted the audience to know how we got started here. And I appreciate that. You have ancestral wisdom. And I say that because I was listening to you speak, and I'm very connected to my ancestors. They guide me, they speak to me. And so when I heard you speak, I'm like, whoa, this guy's connected to his ancestors too, because
Absolutely.
everybody is. And so, that's how we met. So thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. It's definitely a blessing and an honor. I mean, anybody with the name talking about freedom, fear to freedom, I mean, I'm definitely going to join, because that's a fight that I'm a part of. And when anybody's willing to step up and take such a challenge as to help guide our people to freedom, it's not a light job. It's not an easy job. And if you know history, a lot of times our leaders or anybody who stepped up in that way, whether it be men or women, our biggest challenges is our people. It's not any other race. It's our people that usually are the at the end of our demise. And so anybody who takes up that mantle, whether it be via podcast, whether it be via public speaking, or through food, or through books, any type of form of helping our people become free, we got to tip your hat off, because it's not an easy job, and you have to be selfless and understanding the resistance you're going to get. So I tip my hat off to you, and I honor you in that way for taking up that type of mantle.
Oh gosh, thank you so much, because I started this channel because I wanted to face my fears. I'm like, I don't want to be afraid anymore. So, all right, well, I'm going to get to you, and I want everybody has a story, Mika'EL. Everyone has a story, and I look at your website, and it says the the Edenic Experience.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What is your story? How did you get here? How did you get to where you were to where you are now? What's your story?
So first and foremost, I want to definitely say all praise is due to the Most High, our Creator, because at the end of the day, I'm just a mere reflection in His likeness and His image, and I'm here to do the will of our Creator. So I want to give the honor to our Creator first. So that's how I started life, right? I came with an anointed mission to help my people. Did I know that mission growing up? I didn't. And it's interesting how the things that we go through life, it leads up to our divine destiny and our divine destination. And so I just want to tip my hat off and give the glory and honor to our Creator. So how I got into the health industry is interesting, right? Everybody has a story, right? A lot of times it's people start with themselves being sick and then having to help redeem themselves and then find out later that they can help others. But mine was a little different. That portion happened later on my journey, which I'll get to that. I really got into the industry um, really based off a very bad breakup. And I was just in a place, I was like, after I graduated, I was just in a place that I just really didn't know what to do. I really didn't know who I was. And I was just in a place I felt very dormant and I felt like I just didn't know where I was at in life. And so I went back to what I knew best because I played college football. So I left Houston and then moved back to Cleveland, Ohio, which I'm originally from Cleveland. And I just started working out, something I knew, just something to help distress, relieve the stress, relieve a lot of the things I was mentally going through. And it just kind of put me in a space. It started, it's funny enough, it started almost like, ever heard of somebody having a vengeance weight loss?
Vengeance weight loss. What's that? What do
They're
you
trying
mean?
to prove the person they just broke
Yeah.
up with, like,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
You are funny. Yes.
yeah. So I wanted to prove like you messed up by letting me go. So I started there, and I mean like it was really a drive for me, like a very, I would say now I look back, a sick drive, because it was not from pure love or me loving myself. It was just from a place I wanted to prove somebody wrong. And along the journey, my friends started to kind of see my results, and so they tagged along. And I remember my first client, oh, not even first client, he just trained with me, my friend, and he ended up losing 33 pounds in 3 weeks.
Mm,
So from
mm.
there, I'm like, okay, maybe I can do something with this. And so within 3 months, I went from one client to 20 clients
Wow.
and taking them to the fields and taking them to the gym. And then I had a real decrease. So then it gave me kind of space to start learning about the business rather than, taking it day by day. So from
Mm-hmm.
there, I was really self-taught, and then I ended up getting certified as a personal trainer. And
Mm.
so I started studying people like Mike Rashid, CT Fletcher, people like that as far as the personal training business. And then I end up about the top of, no, probably about the middle of 2015, I end up partnering with the nutritional company Herbalife. And so
Mm.
that opened up a whole nother network of possibilities. And actually, that's how I met Vegan Auntie. So me and Vegan
Oh,
Auntie knew each other for the last 10 years. And we actually started as business partners through a third party company. And so I had just
shout
turned,
out to Vegan
yes,
Auntie. I'm
shout
gonna
out to
get her
Vegan
up
Auntie.
on here too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's my sister right there. I love her to death.
Yeah.
And so we started that, and she had her team already established. So you see what she's doing now is that been manifesting. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
she had recruited me through her sister, and then from there, she started inviting me to events, and then from there they started really getting into nutrition. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get certified as a nutritionist. So I got certified as a nutritionist. Was doing that from 2015 up until 2017. Now, 2017 was this change for me because that's when the documentary, What the Health, came out. If you remember that.
Oh, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, of course, that shook up the world. And it
Mm-hmm.
made me realize that, hold on, I need to really start. Like, I was looking at my ingredients, but now it made me go into the small details of my ingredients, when you're looking at yellow 5 and blue 1 and red this and red that, and you like, well, okay, then what does this really mean? And then you start, and they exposed the true colors of the pharmaceutical company and the doctors. And I said, okay, I need to really examine it. And then, funny enough, in that same year, my grandfather ended up getting cancer, and I was going with him through his radiation process of chemotherapy, and I started to see the diet they gave him. They was trying to give him pork while he on it. I'm like, why would y'all give him this if he's supposed to be becoming healthy? And so I simultaneously, going back a little bit, 2015 was also the start of my spiritual journey.
Okay.
So kind of going back just a little bit.
Okay, that's good though. Was it how let me ask you something. How did that start? Just a little brief, like, was it a spiritual awakening? What was the shift,
So
spiritually?
I went to a HBCU called Central State University.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I can say what the ultimate one was, but I'm going to point out something that really made me start questioning. So 2012, I was in the history of African American class, and we had a black teacher, a sister, who was teaching us, and she was very unapologetically black. And so I remember her having a class one day, and she said, "You do know that we were beaten into Christianity." I'm like, what? I never heard that before.
Oh yeah.
And it was crazy because it felt like as if she was talking to me, because half the class was asleep. But I paid attention after that, and I looked around because nobody else responded. I'm like, am I the only one who didn't know that or something? So she said, she's like, yeah, we were actually abused, we were taken captive, and they forced us into their religion. So then that made me start questioning. I started questioning my religion. I started questioning my last name. I said, let me research my last name. My last name went back to a German general, a white German general in the British Army. So I said, okay, well, I know I'm not white, so why do I have this last name? So then I started doing more research on, okay, when did that name come to America? Came to find out it came by way of somebody who had a family in Georgia, where I'm at now. Started a farm and started slaves, and then he expanded his slave plantation to Alabama. Most of my family comes from Alabama. And then the other part comes from Virginia and West Virginia. And so it just made me go down this rabbit hole of questioning, and I just went deeper and deeper. And so then my grandmother, I call her the historian of our family, because she got a lot of the records of our ancestors. Like, one of my great grandmothers was actually one of the navigators for Lewis and Clark. If you remember the navigators. So we got an old picture. I mean, you straight up indigenous.
Yeah.
So from there, she ended up orchestrating one of our family reunions being on one of our slave plantations.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I've been to my family slave plantation before up in West Virginia.
So have I here in North Carolina. So have I. The Carson plantation.
Yeah,
Still,
yes.
We were taught that.
Ours is the Harrison plantation. You got the Cave plantation down south. And here's this little side note. You know, the funny thing is, my grandmother's side of the family, she was part of the first slave ships that came. My grandfather's side of the family was part of the last slave ships that came.
Wow.
So have you ever heard of the Clotilda in Alabama? Yeah, look it up. Anybody who watching, go look up the first African free town in Alabama. You'll see it there. It's a book called Clotilda to tell you the history of how that slave boat came to Alabama. It was the last slave boat because they actually started banning slavery as far as importing slaves in. So that was the last illegal boat that they came through. And so go ahead.
No, go. You go ahead.
So at that family reunion, I end up getting a call from my little brother while I'm on a slave plantation. And he starts kicking me knowledge of who we are, you know, as being the Hebrews, the original descendants of the Hebrew Israelites. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, we just African. But you realize there's many diversities of Africans, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so he started telling me this, and I just couldn't understand it at first. So to make that part short, me and him was going back and forth for like 6 months. I was resistant because my little brother, we have the same mother but different father. So he would switch up his belief based upon his father. So for me, he was not credible when he was bringing it to me. But what really got me to really start researching, because this time he seemed very sincere. And it seemed like a sense of urgency. So it just kind of pricked my spirit to say, okay, let me see what he talking. Because it got so bad. We was arguing so bad. My mama told me I couldn't even come back to the house till we made up.
Lord, Jesus.
Yeah, it was that bad.
I'm glad y'all made up.
Yeah. Like
yes,
it was, I blocked him and everything. I was like, man, you coming at me crazy. And on the scene, like you do some crazy things with religion. So something just pricked me. And then I remember the awakening of me watching this video. I mean, it was just pure facts, undeniable facts. And I remember going through so many feelings of crying, angry. I was happy. I was excited. I was sad. And I'm like, yo, they've been lying to us. They've been lying to us the whole time and putting us behind these general labels like African American or like Black or like Afro American. Well, we come from kings, we come from queens, we come from priests and priestesses, we come from chiefs and chiefesses, we come from tribes.
So that means that we are the chief and the chiefesses, the priests and the priestesses. Yeah, we are our ancestors. I love that. Keep going. I just had to put that in there.
So we have the blood of the kings and queens in us.
Yes.
Which makes sense of why they put us through all these catastrophic things and we still ain't died yet. But
well, you know what? You know what? When I don't know how old you are. I'm 58 years old, and my mother was when we were young. I grew up in D.C. and my mother used to go to Chantilly, Virginia for the chickens. We didn't go to the store. My mother, we used to have to drive an hour to get our meat, and I couldn't understand. I was like, why we got to drive so far to get meat?
Yeah.
You know, my friends ain't doing it. My mother was like, I don't care what they're doing. This is what we're not going to, we're going to eat organic. We're going to eat this or what, fruits, vegetables, you know, all of those things. And so before it was even popular to eat organic or to juice or anything, I watched my mother do those things. I grew up knowing that we were, that we had a voice. My father taught us, he took us to the slave house and said, this is where your great great grandfather came in, and that's why you have this name. And so we were learning those things, but I didn't really get into it until right now. Like later, I had a concussion 7 years ago. It was a bad one. And my daughter talked about, and that was when What the Health was coming out. Like, what the hell? Like, what in the world? You know, it was an awakening for me, but I can tell you that I didn't really follow, you know, like not eating dairy and understanding how it impacted me until, you know, years later, which is now. You know, I just was like, you know, I got pain in my knees. That's got to be coming from somewhere, what I'm eating. And it's always go back to what you're putting in your mouth. Right. My mother had a book called, you know, How to Eat to Live, Not Live to Eat. You know, my mother, she followed Dr. Sadie and, you know, all of those people that were Brother Bay. These people were in our household. They were in our lives. And so I did have a baseline. So when I got to you, I'm like, man, I know, like, this is for me. Just like your brother, like, wait a minute, this is pricking me, you know? And so I'm happy about that. I want to ask you something about mucus. Because I saw, you know, I listened to you, and one of the things that Dr. Sadie talked about is wherever you find sickness in the body, there is going to be mucus. So, of course, in my head, I've always like, mucus is bad. Mucus is bad for you, you know, like, and I was a cigarette smoker. I was. And so, of course, that creates a lot of mucus and cheese, dairy. I heard that. So, because I just am a different person since I don't eat dairy. I just have to say that. But what do you say about mucus?
I want to give honor first to Dr. Sadie, right? The great ancestor, the great elder, because we have to understand that, and it's funny, we was talking about this in our tribal meeting yesterday, is that the Creator always sends anointed ones in each generation to help people in whatever fashion that may be, that they need help for that generation to get to the next. And so he was one of the ones who was anointed in the element of health, to awaken really Black people to understand that your diet is not like everybody else's. So I want to give him that honor and respect because he was definitely one of the pioneers on a very national level who brought that forth. And so one thing he was right about is that where you find sickness, you find mucus. Now this is never to disrespect his legacy or to discredit him, because we have to understand, just like for me or any other herbalist or healer in this time, there's always going to be somebody who advances the information, who has a little bit more techno equipment or sources than we do in our time, that will be able to advance and go deeper into the knowledge. And so at his time, that's all he could find at that time, was where I saw sickness is where I found mucus. And so I agree with that, but the part I would disagree is that we have to understand this. We first have to understand, what is mucus? What is mucus? Where did it come from? How did it start? Why is it in our body naturally? Because we don't catch mucus. So where is it coming from? And so you have something in your body called a mucosa membrane. This mucosa membrane is there as your first line of defense. So you have your lymphatic system that sends out lymph nodes to help cleanse the body and keep the integrity of the body. You have something called white blood cells. That is your soldiers of your body that protects you from foreign invaders. And these are your soldiers and your warriors that goes against anything that should not be here. But then your first line of defense of this very integral, intelligent, supreme system is the mucosa membrane. Now, what is the purpose of the mucosa membrane? The mucosa membrane first starts in your mouth. So it's outlined throughout your whole body, even throughout your skin, as to why your skin even detoxes in the first place. So when you look at this mucosa membrane, it is your first responder to any imbalance in the body. So what happens is this mucosa membrane secretes this mucus substance. When you test this mucus, guess where it sits on the pH scale? It sits in the alkalinity. Now we know that Dr. Sebi was against what? Acid foods.
Yes.
But guess what? The information now is advanced. So now we have found out, hold on, mucus is actually alkaline starting out. It's actually a benefit as to why, when it's draining out of your mouth, it starts as a liquid substance. So when you look at mucus, when it gets sent out, it's actually there to bind up toxins, bind up bad bacteria, bind up plaque and any heavy metals that may be through the body that you're not naturally detoxifying yourself by urination and defecation, right? So when you start having a runny nose, you're not having a runny nose because you're sick. That is a sign that your body is naturally detoxing. When you're having mucus in your eyes, that's not a sign that you're sick. That's your body having a natural detoxification symptom of releasing something that you're not releasing by defecation and urination. When you have a pimple, when you pop that pimple, the first thing you see is what? Mucus. And then following mucus is what? Blood. Now, why is that? It's because this is your body showing signs that it is self-reliant on when it comes to detoxifying itself. It really don't need no help. All it needs to do is from the soul man or spirit man or woman that's there being hosted in that vehicle or that avatar, is to do right by the body so the body can do right by you. But if we're abusing the body with mucus forming foods, if we're abusing the body with acid forming foods, the body is more intelligent than us. It's going to naturally detoxify itself. But they will label that as sickness.
Thank you.
Now when you
Wow.
test the mucus out, and I'm seeing no different than tumors. When you actually bust a tumor, guess what you're seeing? You're seeing dead cells. You're seeing blood. Guess what else you're seeing? Mucus. Why are you seeing mucus? Because the mucus is helping collect all the toxins and all the dead cells and packaging it in something called a tumor, because we've been taught wrong that a tumor is sickness, when it's your body creating a damn wastebasket to collect everything that you're not naturally detoxifying by way of urination, defecation, vomiting, or skin elimination.
That's what you mean by the healing crisis. Is that
The
right?
healing crisis, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So mucus is not a bad thing. It's actually one of your closest friends and your closest defenders to making sure the integrity of the body and the cells stay balanced. Now, here's the part where it can become a defense. But if that's the case, then I will have to label my cells as a foreign invader.
I would have to label my gut microbiota as a foreign invader. Now, why would Mika'EL say that? Because if you abuse the body's going to naturally defend itself against who? You. So now, where mucus will become your best friend, now because you're abusing it and you're eating so much mucus-forming foods and you're in a toxic environment, you're causing your mucosal membrane to overstimulate. And you're causing to produce too much mucus. Now imagine if you're causing to produce too much mucus, but you're not eliminating. Guess what you're doing? You're stagnating. And if that mucus is not being pushed out and eliminated, it will start to stagnate. And guess what it start to do? It will start to harden as a wall.
Oh, you are deep, Mika'EL. Give us this knowledge. Man, I'm telling you, oh no, I'm about to cut a flip up in here. I'm serious. That's how it was when I first heard you. I'm like, I mean, you are absolutely right. We love Dr. Sadie, but we also are the bearers of new information.
Yes.
And that's what it's that's the way it's supposed to be. We love and we need this information that is coming from our ancestors. It is coming from him. It's coming from all of them because we have to continue to grow and advance ourselves. I want you to talk, briefly about this is me. I feel like we're under warfare. I feel like we're under attack. I feel like we've been under attack, but we're under attack spiritually, physically, and mentally. We are psychologically. What do you say about that?
We absolutely are. I say this.
And how can we protect ourselves? I mean, from this warfare.
Ooh,
not just physically, but also not just okay, I'm gonna give it to you. You got the stage.
Because now you're dealing with different elements. You said spiritual. That's an element of warfare. You said mental. That's an element of warfare. Then you talking about physical. That's an element of warfare. And you talking about emotional. That is another element of warfare that embodies the whole total warfare in itself against you and your people. So when you look at the state of our people, I say this. Your environment dictates your reality. Your reality dictates your health. Because your environment, first of all, let's break down the etymology of environment. Inverno. Inverno means that which circumferences. That which circumferences you. Ment means that which pretty much walls you in and binds you. So your environment is anything that circumferences you and it binds you. Now, when you look at our environment, are we in our natural land? No. Are we wearing our natural clothes? No. Are we eating our natural food? No. Are we serving our natural God? No. Do we understand the natural order of our family? No. Are we getting our natural education? No. Are we getting natural sunlight? No. So when you look at everything that circumferences our environment is a war zone. The minute you step into your house, look at your walls. Your walls don't get enough circulation in it for you to get enough oxygen in the house. So you don't even realize you're microdosing oxygenated suppression. So you're not even being able to get oxygen in your house based upon how they build the walls. But then you have air conditioning. This air conditioning don't even give you natural air. It's synthetic air. And then most of us don't even change the filters in our air system. So we're inhaling dust in all these chemical trails. So now your lungs are getting attacked. Then most of us sleep with our phones next to us. If you go to your phone right now, you pull it up. You go to your phone right now, right? I'm in my settings. I'm in my settings. You go to your phone and you go to, let me see, general, right? When you go to, let's see where it's at. This is it. So you go to general, right? So y'all can see. Then you go down to legal and regularity. Now y'all see that? Let me see if I can pull the camera.
Right there.
That says RF exposure. Now why would that be on my phone?
Yeah.
Watch this. iPhone has been tested and meets applicable limits of radio frequency. Specific absorption rate, SAR, refers to the rate at which the body absorbs RF energy. The SAR limit is 1.6 watts per kilogram in countries that set the limit average over 1 gram of tissue, and 2 watts per kilogram in countries that set limit average over 10 grams of tissue. During tests, iPhone radios are set to their highest transmission levels. Ooh-wee. You hear that? That's
Yeah, I hear that.
that you're
Wow.
receiving from your phone. Watch this. It says this. It says SARS is evaluated in real time. Overtime intervals are specified by applicable regulations. iPhone is evaluated in positions that simulate uses against the head with no separation. And when worn or carried against the torso of the body, you need 5 millimeters of separation.
Wow.
Now, why would you need that? It says it says to reduce exposure to RF energy, use a hands-free option. Now, how many of you hands-free option? Meaning this, me just holding this phone is not hands-free. Me doing this is not hands-free. Women like to put their phone in their breast. It's not hands-free.
Yeah.
Men like to put the phone in their pocket, which is causing prostate cancer, not hands-free. So meaning we shouldn't even be touching this phone for us to not receive radio frequency radiation. Because guess what? There is no difference between somebody receiving chemo, somebody receiving radiation, than you put this phone on your hand or in your person. You're getting the same microdoses of radiation that somebody who's going through chemo does. Now, guess what? Now, what do we know about chemotherapy? Chemotherapy, they use something called mustard gas. You can look this up. The first time mustard gas was used in World War I and World War II. It was against their enemies. What they realized is that when they used this gas against their enemies, they no longer had to necessarily invade. All they had to do was shoot this gas, and it would kill their enemies dead. What they realized was that when they did this, they actually started to kill the cells of their enemy as to why they died. So what the scientists came up with, which is in Fort Detrick military base, which is in Pennsylvania, they said, what if we diluted this a little bit and we use this for cancer? We use this for cancer, and maybe if we use this how we use this on our enemies to kill cells, but if we dilute it, maybe we can start to kill cancer. But what they found out was that they did not just kill cancerous cells, they were killing the good cells. They were killing the good T cells and B cells and white blood cells. They were killing the lymph nodes. You see that? They was killing the red blood cells. And ultimately, we start to find out that the radiation was killing the people more than the so-called cancer itself. But then you put cancer in a bottle in this phone. You put cancer in a bottle on my iPad. You put cancer in a bottle on my laptop. And you're telling me, because they didn't make a public announcement about this, you're telling me that in order for me to not get any type of synthetic radio frequency that would kill my cells, that this has to actually be separated from me. But then
so what do we do? Well, but this is what we have to use in order to communicate with everybody. This is one of the devices. This is one of the pieces of technology that everyone uses. How can we use it more safely?
There you go.
How can we? Is it earbuds?
Earbuds
is it that
too.
we need to get earbuds?
Earbuds can cause cancer too, brain cancer.
So how do we use it? Stop using a phone?
So typically you got to get the phone a break. No difference than certain foods.
Let's just keep it simple, right? Yeah.
You got to give it a break. I mean, you ordered me, so it was the time that you didn't really need this.
Yeah, I hear you.
You'll walk down the street. You know what I mean? Or, different ways of communication. But I would say, right, we do need it. But in the same sense, you got to be able to, no different than you got to push that pork away. You got to push that chicken away. You need to give it a break. Because it's killing you. I need my protein. I need the chicken because it holds beef. It holds protein from my body. But how is it killing you, calling colon cancer if it's so good for you? If the phone is so good for you, how are you having brain fog? How is it that your body can't even stay properly sleep during the night because you have this on now on airplane mode or put away in a whole nother room? Because when you have this on while you sleep, it keeps your brain active. So although you feel sleep, you'll never really sleep. Therefore, you becoming what? You're going through sleep deprivation. You don't even know it. Which causes
What do you think is the greatest threat to humanity right
The
now?
greatest threat
All
to
people,
humanity is humanity
humanity.
itself.
Mm.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
Look at the nature of humans. Everything we do when we want to do it in our own hands goes against the creator. Now, to the degree of the gods of the earth, the kings and queens of the earth, the original people of the earth, we had an ancient concept understanding that God was in nature, that God is nature, and all things that was made by nature is of God and is God.
Yes.
So when we go into a Western thought and concept and consciousness, they remove God. Just like when you look at science at its purest form, science means to observe nature. But modern day science is saying, let's observe, but we're removing God. And you cannot remove God from nature because God is nature, nature is God, and all that lives have something called breath. And if it has breath, it is something that is beyond the natural sense of the creation, because everything that breathes automatically, meaning it does not take consciousness to breathe.
Right.
So we
Right. It's
know there's a
unnatural.
higher conscious and a higher power, because there's things that's automated that man can't even describe. Meaning, how is the sun sitting up there and not falling? How is stars and moons sitting up there? How are you able to breathe without thinking in your sleep? So we know that there's a higher consciousness and a higher power, but man has fallen so much from that divine consciousness, and we taking that consciousness into our own hand, and it's become diluted, it's become corrupt, and it's become evil. So I think the biggest threat to humanity is humanity itself.
I just really agree with that. I do. I'm gonna have to say I agree with that one. Yeah. I believe that. How do we do those things? The same way a mountain stands and it cannot be moved. It's very much in its natural state, right?
Yes.
And yes, I agree with that. I want to ask you, this is the Fear to Freedom Project. What fears did you face in order to get to this? How has fear helped or hurt you?
Mm. So fear, before I came into divine consciousness, it didn't help me because it's almost, you ever heard the saying, two things can be right at the same time? So in a lower consciousness, but in the same breath with higher consciousness, with fear, how I deal with fear is I embrace it. I embrace fear. I go towards it so I can get over it. When I was in the lower conscious, that was not the right way, because that puts you in danger, right? But when I step into a higher conscious, it's not necessarily putting myself in danger, because I understand the element of environment I'm in. Therefore, I'm using wisdom and understanding while stepping towards the fear, because I understand that fear is not real. You reading the Bible tells you, I'm not giving you the spirit of
Yes.
fear. I'm not giving you the spirit of fear, but I've given you the spirit of a conqueror. So me understanding that there's something beyond me that has the divine written code of my life has helped me not be afraid of fear itself, because the only thing that behind fear is just the unknown. But
Yes.
that's faith. So if you have faith, then you shouldn't really be scared of the unknown. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, but thou art with me. You see that? So
Yes.
that has helped me get over a lot of obstacles. But if I had to say anything that has been the biggest fear of me, is fearing myself. Fearing what I may become, fearing what I may do, fearing what people may think of me. But I had to get over that,
Yes.
because again, I know that there's something divinely bigger than me that has full control of my life.
God, Mika'EL, I love that. Yes. We are able to look at fear and say, what, there is none. When you have faith in the unknown, I think that's the biggest struggle with us. We want to see it to believe it. That's how
Yeah.
we're taught. Seeing is believing, but actually believe it
Yes.
and you will see it. That it is totally the reverse. I remember being just a young woman and just thinking, golly, we have this world upside down. It just seems like we do things in the reverse.
Yes.
Yeah. And the awareness that you bring, I'm so glad that you're on this channel, because this is what this channel was created for. Truth. truth and substance. And that is the reason why you're here. I'm so happy. I want people to know that they should go to your site. There are some downloadable documents there
Yeah.
that I think would help people to just get an understanding, just simply like what fruits to eat, how to match the fruits and the vegetables. Everything doesn't go together. At least that's what I've learned there. There
Yeah.
are juice recipes there for your gut, for your pancreas, for your
Yeah.
liver, for your kidneys. There is a nutritional chart there, an African Adamic nutritional chart there.
Yeah.
It is specific to us.
Yeah.
It is specific to us. And there is a mineral food list there. We need instructions on how to do your tea. I'm gonna do it. That I saw some of my sisters, they like, oh, it was bitter, we
Yeah.
gotta get through. I'm gonna do it. I know my mother been eating bitter stuff, like giving it to us, and I'm just like, I'm never gonna do this when I get old. So I'm getting myself prepared because yes, but I know that whatever, if it's bitter, it's good for you. This is what
Absolutely.
my mother put in my head, if it's bitter, it's good for you. So I am getting myself prepared for that because I had reconcussed. I suffered a mild reconcussion, and of course, I came right to you like, what should I do? Because my brain is important to me.
Yeah.
It is, and the
Absolutely.
health of it is important to me. So you have given me the prescription of what I am to take, and yes, I am preparing myself for that. And you just really got to prepare yourself for that because I trust
Yeah.
me that 10-day raw fast. That's not anything. I'm not gonna live raw. I don't mind doing a fast, but I love some hot soup. I do. I love a mushroom. I like to cook it. I like hot food. So,
I
but
understand.
yeah, but I want the audience to know that there is a group, and I will put that information in the show notes on how to
Mhm.
stay connected to Mika'EL and his partners. And
Yes.
so that you can heal yourself. We can heal our own selves. We have the power within. That is psychologically, that is spiritually, that is even mentally. Depression you can stop depression. There
Yes.
are some mental illnesses that require some professional help. I understand that because that's been my profession all of my life. But for the most part, you are right. We are enemies to ourselves,
Yeah.
especially when we fear that we can't do something, or we think about, what someone else is going to think about us. This is I mean, we do this. We play imposters, we level ourselves down because we don't want to offend someone else. But I am just committed to seeing just how large my container can be because I see that the universe is large, right?
Yes.
There is God is expansive. Yeah,
Yes.
God is not in a box like we were taught. So I'm
Hmm.
really glad to hear you. And I'm glad you got that information that we were beaten into
Yes.
submission about what we are to believe and what we are to think. And that no longer exists because of young people like you who are bringing awareness to this planet. You see, my mother's era was whatever the doctor said. You see,
Yeah.
my mother came from an era that, where it was pretty rough. And so think about our ancestors and certain things that they could not do. And so in their honor, we have to do this. This is a must. We are healing bloodlines whenever we teach each other how to eat, how to live, how to think,
Yeah.
how to behave here in this world. We're healing our bloodline, and that's what I think about that. I could talk to you all day, but I know I can't keep you here. But I have another question that I wanted to ask you. I ask every guest who comes here, um, what are you most excited about in life right now?
What I'm most excited about in life right now is the shift of consciousness of our people. One of my daily prayers is I ask the Creator to allow me to see some portion of my people free, whether that be in consciousness, whether that be physical, whether that be spiritual liberation. Allow me just to see it. And so again, as we open up, we talking about fear to freedom. I I'm excited when I see that. I'm excited when I see people wanting to have the conversation now and not run from it. I'm excited when I'm starting to see elders mix and mingle with the young now.
I'm excited
Yes.
when I'm seeing the young want to grab hold of the elders now. I'm excited when people are becoming owners and entrepreneurs now and freeing themselves, whatever form that is, whether you be growing your own food, making your own clothes, making your own soap, making your own toothpaste, creating your own real estate portfolio, whatever it is, open up your own health center, whatever it may be that is going to help the collective of our people free. That is what I'm excited for. Like for me, I live a selfless life. It's not really about me. And so when I'm seeing that, I'm a supporter. I support that and I share that because I know we need it. So that's what I'm most excited for is in whatever form that may be now, is the freedom and liberation of the cycle that we're going through right now.
Yes, I'm really appreciate you. I do appreciate you coming. I have to end this podcast, but let me tell you something. You are always welcome here at the Fear to
Thank
Freedom
you.
Project. You and your family, your team, whoever, you are always welcome here. I will invite you back. I want to
Yeah.
continue to have the conversation. This is not by accident. Again, I love my ancestors. They are with me all the time. I get their wisdom every day. I get up and seek their wisdom and honor them every day. And they led us together. You know, your ancestors know my ancestors, and that's what I
Absolutely.
love, right?
Absolutely.
So I just want everyone to know that they can find the information about you and your partners and team in the show notes. And one day we're gonna get vegan auntie.
Yeah.
Maybe she will come to the Fear to Freedom Project because I love her. I use her sea moss. I feel it all in my bones, just the
Yes.
same way that I'm going to get your product so I can clean my cells out from the little bit of pharmaceuticals that I have had to take. It will not be for a long time, not for me. And so uh, I appreciate you. A deep bow to you, you know, in honor and reverence. And so I'm going to end this right now because we could be here all day
Yeah.
long. But again, if this is your first time to the Fear to Freedom Project, welcome. Welcome, welcome. I love you. And if you're a returning champion, thank you so much for supporting this channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. This way we can get more information out to the collective. We are here not just for ourselves, we are here for all beings. And so I love you and I appreciate you so
I
much.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Mika'EL. I love you, brother, and I will talk to you soon. One moment, hold on. All right. Peace and love, everyone.